Good evening. Hi, Ashish.
Hey, how are you, Dr. Rao? You're okay?
I am doing very well.
Around what have you oriented your life?
Yeah, our inner being.
Ah, ah, ah.
Well, we have been talking about this for the last few days. You know,
Okay.
I was
Yes.
I was having a couple of hours discussion on an average, and people are really participating, asking deep questions and all. It's very nice. It's happening. So, how are you, Ashish?
Um, I just signed two new contracts for work.
Uh huh.
One, I'm going to be a teacher for forensic doctors,
Uh-huh.
and the other one is I'm going to be a forensic doctor.
Okay.
And I'm quitting one job because they want to reduce my income, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Increase the workload and reduce my income
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be very logic for me.
Yes.
Getting involved in more and more of these podcasts and
Yeah.
workshops on serious gaming and play and storytelling. So yeah,
Yeah.
and I am madly in love with a lady.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. This.
What can I say?
Yeah. This increasing work and reducing the pay that has become almost epidemic. you know, they don't want to pay like
Hey,
they.
man, bro,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
It's
It's
crazy. Yeah.
literally they want to expand my activities on the work
Yeah.
floor with 50%, and they want to pay me 50% of what they pay me now. So
Yeah.
I think they're joking.
Yeah.
I will not. The whole not responding to my answer to their offer has really been pathetic. So
Yeah.
if you answer your question, which is what was the question? About what have you oriented your life? I think it is self-realization, Rao. I think it's conscious awareness,
Yeah.
situational awareness,
Yeah.
personal awareness, spiritual awareness,
Yeah.
and the larger picture of life and our connection with life in all shapes, forms, and manners,
Exactly.
and to be alert when we float off and we're not so aware.
Yeah.
I think that's the essence of my life. I don't know about you, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's what seems to be it for me.
So obviously, I am oriented around the inner self. My friend Lois is here. She knows that very well. She's actually oriented around the self very much. Hi, Lois. Welcome.
Hi, Lloyd.
Okay. Sorry, my bad. I'm not used to coming on Clubhouse, so
yeah.
I couldn't figure out where the microphone was. Hi, Dr. Rao. How are you doing? Hi, Ashish.
Yeah.
Is that how you say your name?
Indeed.
Okay. Yeah. So you said the question is how do you, being yourself around what have you oriented in life? For me, I've oriented my life around healing of myself.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not focused on killing nobody else for most of my career. Like you, Dr. Rao, you've been a doctor. Okay, I was a therapist for a long time, and I worked on healing everybody else.
Yeah.
And so and since I was for the last 13 years, it's been about healing me.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that as I heal myself and my life heals, that everybody around me is getting healed.
Yeah.
So as long as my focus is oriented on being the love that I came here to be,
Yeah.
and not getting caught up in all the stereotypes and the fear mongering and the name calling and the gossiping and all the other crap,
Absolutely.
that I'm able to focus on being, meditating, and getting in the silence and loving who I am. And there was no time in my life where I love me, but I didn't like me very much because I knew that I wasn't real. I knew I was painting a face, excuse my language, but painting a happy face on shit.
Yeah.
Okay, and calling it good and saying, oh, it didn't bother me. Oh, it didn't bother me. When all in turn, it was bothering me on the insides.
Yeah.
So
But
my life is
you
one
know,
that's why about healing.
yeah, Elias, I know that you are oriented towards the bigger self in all of us, So I think you are very much familiar. I know Lois for a long time now, and I know where she is oriented. I think it's a good topic for her to come and talk about it. Yeah, I've been trying to make people don't be just body conscious, or don't be identify with your thoughts and thinking that you are your personality or ego, but you are all that. You have those instruments, but what animates this, that inner divine spark, that we get into touch with it, then even if few minutes a day, if you can orient like that, I think it will be very, very healing and very, very nurturing and loving to other people also. So that's why I was kind of exploring into it, and also asking, inviting people to come and join and then explore with us. There's nothing like a preaching or teaching here, but just a perspective. Look at that. So I'm glad, Lois, you are here. Lois had a very good journey where she was, involved in touching this and then establishing herself in that, and she comes from that. That's what I'm talking about. And she came here to express herself. It's a very good. Yeah, I was doing this for the last few weeks, probably couple of weeks maybe. And before that, I did the calming the mind, and then we explored the mind and how it can be calmed down and all that. And now I'm going a little bit deeper. What are you going to do with when your mind is calm and quiet? What are you going to do with that silent mind? This is what it is. You need some vital energy to be able to investigate. A lot of people don't even have time to reflect on anything. They are running, running, running. But then if you stop, if you reflect, it becomes a habit. And then the longer you are, the more deeper you are going, the more happiness you have. That's the side effect too. You can now discover that happiness and joy within, and then coming from that is really blessing to you and to the world too around. That's where I'm coming from. So Ashish, that is what I was focusing on. You know.
Yeah, I hear you, Rao.
Yeah.
What can I say? Focusing on self is nice, but I think there's a higher connection between us, life in general,
Yeah.
the planet,
Yeah.
animals, other animal life forms, plants.
Yeah.
So this whole conception that we are ideal individuals with no ego,
Mm.
that is the superficial layer for me because deep down inside, I
Yeah.
may not be a religious man, but I'm a spiritual man. I believe that there is connection between all of us, and perhaps this manifestation of the ego
Yeah.
is just a very shallow way of looking at life.
Yeah.
And so realization lies in that realization for me that, yeah, there's more
Yeah.
that we cannot see or we cannot feel, but perceive. We are part of a whole one big person.
Yeah.
And, yes. That's what I live for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you, Ashish, completely, because you know there is a ancient Sanskrit word called yagna. That means when you participate in the life, for the life itself, you want to replenish it. Because you're all in one energy, so we are not separate in the sense. So you also help the rest of the world to be replenished. That is how you do your activities, so that they can help the planet and the people and the animals, everything around it. So once you are in that union, once you are the feel of that we are all in one energy, the activities become totally different. It's no longer like a my little self, my little body, my little ego. No longer that will be there. and you are, without really saying anything, you will be in that energy, and then the whole world will be helping you to the universe. So one with the union with everybody, everything that is really elevated. And then they did this symbolic rituals of yagna. Yagna means they kind of make a fire and pour ghee into it. But the thing is, they want you to sacrifice, not just to acquire and just to be selfishly oriented, but really sacrifice the best of things for the betterment of the world, that kind of thing. And that is really, once you are in that one flow of life and replenishing it, then you are not separate from anything, so you feel that oneness, especially when Lois or you have the same perspective, that becomes so much easier to really convey this, without being I'm holy and then you, but we all say
Yes.
we're all the same. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, for me, it's like we're all the same. We're all parts of this one body.
Exactly.
Okay, each one of us has a different job to do. That's why we each have an individual ego, and the ego is the part of us that learns, the part that says I am. Okay, the part that says I'm a part of this. It's the self. It's not what everybody describes as, oh, they're egomaniac. They're talking about ego defenses. They're not talking about the ego, because we need our ego in order to figure out who we are, first of all, because we have to be one with ourselves before we can see ourselves as a part of the whole. We don't see ourselves as part of the whole. We see ourselves separate, and we be in the survival consciousness when we don't see ourselves as a whole person. Because I know for me, I didn't have coherence between my outside world and my inside world. My outside world was doing one thing, and my inside world was doing something different, and it made me feel like an imposter. Now, when I stopped putting a happy face on the shit and started digging in and realizing that is just fertilizer for my growth, I was able to see the interconnectedness of all things. Okay, and then I see that as I do my work and become one with me, the natural progression is now I'm one with everybody else. That's why the Holy Bible, or whatever you want to call it, the King James Bible says, love others as you love yourself. But you can't love nobody else until you love you first. And most people don't love them because they see self-love as something selfish, when self-love, according to the Greeks, is one of the most pivotal parts of love, of the aspects of love, because love has 8 different aspects,
Yeah.
And if we don't, and then we live in all of them. And some people only focus on one, just like the laws of the universe. Everybody's focused on the law of attraction, but there are 11 other laws that they need to look at as well in order to get a well-rounded life. Yeah. So I believe that once you become who you are, then you're able to see that everybody is you.
Yeah. See, this union of energy I'm talking about, it kind of makes you feel loving within yourself.
Yes.
And then that pours out, so you're not going for anybody to give you love as a condition, but you be loving, and then automatically it comes from you, and then it kind of, you don't have to seek anywhere, but it is right in you, and it spreads. And that is very energetic, Lois. It's kind of replenishes you, because no negativity, no separation, no really identifying like I want this from these people to exploit it. But you happily give it away if you want to, and by giving itself is the giver, right? The giver
And
itself.
there's no attachment
Yeah,
to
yeah.
what you do when you get to a certain phase. And that doesn't mean that we're no better than anybody else. All that just means that we become more aware of our own personal greatness and who we are when it comes to this universe, and that we all have divine aspects, and the thing is, we all are having this human experience, but at our core, we're pure energy and light.
That's
and when
it.
when we realize that you can't put the light out. I mean, I know you can't put my light out. I may get dim sometimes when I'm going through something, but then I generally reverse engineer my way back to where I was. And because I reverse engineered, then I use my ego to do what it's supposed to do, have a memory, to learn from cause and effect, and to grow. And then I understand that far as the ego is concerned, it's not a good ego, a bad ego, a narcissist ego. It's about whether you have a strong ego or a weak ego. A weak ego does not see us as connected. A weak ego falls apart. A weak ego tries to control. A weak ego does things, but a strong ego, on the other hand, sees everybody as one. It doesn't judge. It doesn't put down. It can stand in the face of adversity, and it's very resilient. That's the strong ego, the strong sense of self. And you don't get that until you get united with you, until you take yourself from all the many compartments, your work persona, your home persona, your friend persona, your party persona, and then you let them just come together, and fully integrate. When you're fully integrated, then you're able to see the whole picture, and you're not saying, oh well, it's just about the people. No, it's for me, it's not just about the people. It's about the animals. It's about the plants. It's about the water. It's about nature. It's about everything, because we are all that same energy, just vibrating at different frequencies.
Exactly, exactly. There's a famous poem in Bhagavad Gita too. It says, it is that spark in every living being, not just the human beings, it's the living being, and that is Swaprakash. That means self luminous. Kind of like a sun, that is there, but then we cover it up with our so-called ego or whatever. And then once you are liberated from that, once you are in that energy, you can use the mind and the ego and everything as tools, but not being identified with it. You are aware of what you are, and then everything will be fine. Yeah, I'm glad you guys came in today, because everybody I had to explain in detail, and then make them understand what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to change anybody. I'm trying to tell them what is the perspective. Look at it. So I do see a lot of patients who are really worried about their body, and then to the extent they kind of reduce everything. My liver is not good, my kidney is not good, like that. They have the problems. We fix them. That's true. But then their consciousness is rooted in that body only, or some people identify themselves with the thought patterns that they have. They change all the time, but they identify with that, and then they kind of stuck. But then when you present this, first they get scared. Oh, I have to lose my ego and my personality, my thing that I
You
have built
can't
today.
lose your ego, though, Dr. Rao. If you lose your ego, you have Alzheimer's, because your ego is responsible for your memory and your sense of knowing danger and stuff. And when people who have Alzheimer's, at least the ones I was with and treated, that they were losing their persona every day. They lost their sense of self. So to say
It's
you
a
got to get
long.
rid of your ego, that's a falsity. The thing is that you must release the ego's maladaptive defenses that keep you from growing.
I know what I'm saying is, when they talk about this, they get scared. Oh, I had to lose all that I built over the years. But then, as they see slowly, then they can see themselves. Yeah, it's a false image of myself. I am really something deeper. And then they will be able to. But what I'm saying is, initially, when you present this, they kind of get scared. They don't want to get into any discussion with all of that, because their thought patterns are so entrenched into their own image that they have built it up over the years, right? And they have invested so much. And if they say, "Oh, I'm an IT engineer. I devise all these programs and everything," and so they take a lot of pride in that and identify with them, rather than that's a special skill you have, but that's fine. But don't identify with that. You are much more than that, much deeper than that. See, we know what we are talking about, but then it's not like we're telling the words. It's like an experiential thing. Once you experience that, it is so peaceful, so blissful and happy. Then you cannot really escape from that. You kind of submerge yourself into that blissfulness, and that really comes through the life. That's why whenever.
Sometimes, Dr. Rao, people get to that peace, and they find themselves bored. So people who are used to chaos, when they start entering into peace, they think it's boredom and they got to get busy again. But because they don't realize that peace is not boredom, that's peace, and because they're not concerned or worried about anything in that moment.
Yeah, exactly. Because it is a restlessness that is gone, it is a dullness that is gone. You are awake but alert, and really conscious of what's going on. So you're not dull, you're not sleepy, you're more like a really concerned with everything that's going on and trying to help out if you can. But it's a wonderful feeling, even if you do it few minutes in the morning, few minutes in the evening, to reflect and to put away thoughts and then be in that silent self. It's a very nurturing thing. It's not something describable, it is to be experienced. Once you experience that, then you will not let it go.
And you
That,
can't do it wrong. And that's
yes.
the other thing. People say when they get quiet and they're doing their meditation, they're like, "Am I doing it right?" And they said do it this way. They said do it that way. The thing is, you can't meditate wrong. Okay, because there is so many different forms of meditations and things you can do to meditation and do to meditate to silence your mind,
Yeah.
where you're able to sit within the silence. And the thing is that's people. I know I have a couple of friends who said, "Girl, I don't want to be by myself because if I be myself, I gotta think my thoughts." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Wow, your thoughts scare you that bad that you don't want to hear them?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And that presents an issue. And I was like, "Well, the whole thing is that you. The thing is, I know I was afraid too. Okay, I was there where I was afraid of what's going to happen if I get quiet. What's going to reveal itself. And the more I got quiet, the more light revealed itself."
Yeah. It's a question of experiential thing, and then once you stay with it without really getting sucked into the worldly things, at least those few moments, and then it grows on you. The deeper the awareness grows in, the more happier you feel. That is the. See, I was talking about this meditative awareness because I wrote a book on that, Joyce, recently. In that meditative awareness, I was talking about how you can be meditative without effort and all the time, because it's a state of being in the awareness, rather than thought stream. So a lot of people are really with all this information overload, all this multitasking, so many distractions that happen. The social media deliberately provides us multiple distractions all the time, right? Notifications and messages and all that. So people get caught in that thought stream. So I'm always trying to teach them how to be here and now, in the present, aware. And once they practice that, then things become much easier. At least in your mind, you're not thinking so much, your energy is gone. This
And
way.
you're not getting hijacked. You're not getting hijacked by your emotions
Yeah,
either. You
exactly.
actually are allowing yourself to feel your emotions when you
Exactly.
once you start entering into the silence, and then you know that these are waves that you're supposed to roll with. You're not supposed to ride the wave until it crashes into the shore. You're
Yeah.
supposed to just be in the water, going with the wave. You know how when you get into the beach water and the waves come up, and I don't know,
Yeah.
and you go with the water. That's what we're supposed to be doing, flowing with
Yeah.
the water. We're not supposed to be trying to ride the wave because the wave got to crash. And
Today I told her something, my sister, about traffic. I told her, if you are having difficulty about meditating, just watch the traffic, like you're watching. She has a balcony that she can stand, and she used to watch the traffic going on the street. But now they changed the room, changed the house. But then this house, you have nobody coming on the road because it's all like a suburb, right? But when she was in the city, she had a lot of traffic going in front of her. So I told her, when you're watching the traffic, watch the thoughts also like that. Don't get identified with the traffic. Don't make comment. Just let them go. And then as you watch, they are mechanically going. Like that,
yeah,
you can also watch the thoughts. And people who do that, that will be wonderful, I think. So,
and examine it and question them.
yeah. Yeah.
Don't just say that was my thought, so that's the way it is. Question it. Is that my thought? Where did I get that from? How did I begin
Yeah.
to believe that? What is the real nature of that? And then when you start questioning those that mind chatter, I'll call it mind chatter. Is what I always call it. When
Yeah.
you start questioning the mind chatter that goes through your mind, when you begin the meditation, when you begin meditating in the beginning, then you're able to see how some of the mind chatter is related to what your beliefs are about you.
Yeah. 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 You
Okay,
see,
I know I started hearing stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, wait, is that my belief? I'm like, no, somebody told me that.
yeah.
Why did I believe it? Oh, because I
Yeah.
heard it 100 times.
Yeah. You know what?
you know?
There was a saying, Lois, I think you like this. They said, if you continue to ask where these thoughts come from, and there is no break in that asking, you will end up in awareness. And
Yes.
then that doesn't have any break, and you will be concerned because all you have to do is don't indulge or suppress the thoughts, but just ask the question, where did this thought come from? All the
Yes.
time. And that one works wonders with people because they never stop, because the moment thought comes they get it, they catch it and they go with it wherever it takes you. That's why don't be driven by your thoughts and emotions. Just take a step back and be in your real self, and then watch. That is a witness that you want to be, right? So
That's right. That you got that right, Dr.
yeah,
Rob.
yeah. Yeah, I kind of teach this in the morning when I do with yoga with people. I tell them, be the witness, be the observer, be the watcher. And even if you are a little bit, because I be like that for an hour with them, and I don't engage in conversation or pleasant talk, anything, but whatever we are doing, I want them to focus on that here and now. Like, you're doing an asana, you can see how well you are doing the bend, or how you are feeling some strain in your body. Be with that, deep breathe into that, and anchor the mind to the breath, and then be that watcher inside. And that, I think some people caught it and they are very happy, because they said more than doing the meditation by themselves, if they come and be here with the group, everybody is in the present, not really engaged in the outward conversation, but more like what's happening within them. And they found it is much more peaceful because there's no break in awareness. You are not being with the thought, but you are being the watcher of the thought. You know?
Right. Then you also have, and in the group you also have the support of the group when everybody's intention is set on the same thing. If there's a certain thing that happens when everybody is focused on the same thing. We all focus on peace, when we all focus on love, or we all focus on balance, or peak, or quieting the mind, or being in the present moment. That brings a lot of power because that's unity, and it's easier to even to be unified
Yeah.
in that type of situation.
Yeah, even in the gym, people go, they get motivated by somebody doing the cycling or walking or whatever, and then they
Yeah.
get more. The ordinary, they are not motivated, they go there. But in this meditation, it's a little deeper, so they go in deeper by themselves, that's a very good thing. And then it is symbiotic, like you said, all the people are doing it, it also becomes symbiotic to you, it comes through you, so that's why quiet minds, if when they are around, the people around them also become very quiet.
Yes, 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 yes. And it's easy to do that. That's why it's
Yeah,
important for you to begin with you,
yeah,
not to begin with everybody else, just to begin with you. You becoming one with
yeah, exactly,
yourself, because
exactly.
you cannot become one with anybody else if you're not
Yeah,
one with yourself. If your inner world and your outer world are in conflict.
exactly. You are the closest person to you.
Yes, right. And if you ain't dealing with you, bringing you into
Yeah,
balance, then
yeah,
how are you going to help somebody else get in balance? Because they're going to know that you're not acting out of integrity because
yeah,
they can see that, and then it just turns them off. So
yeah,
that's why I'm like from the school of walk your walk, talk your talk.
yeah,
I don't say it if I don't do it. I don't play that game. I don't
yeah,
go out here and try to teach something that I am not familiar with, or I'm not up on. I'm gonna say it like that.
yeah. This
Okay.
is a
I
lived
don't know that you
experience.
ain't gonna catch me reading the book and reading the book out loud to you, telling you
Yeah,
this is how this is this, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna read the book and then I'm gonna apply what I found in the book that I found was beneficial or valuable to me,
yeah,
and then as I find value in it, I make it my own, and after I make it my own, then I'll come out and I'll start talking
yeah,
about it because
yeah.
I've become one with that new information.
See, the thing is, even before they turn inward, they turn outward. Even turning to a book, just reading for it is nothing. After you read the book, have you reflected on it? Have you
Yes.
really, that's called manana in Sanskrit. First listen, that is shravana. Like anything anybody says, listen. And then don't accept or don't doubt or anything like that, but go and reflect on it. Find out yourself whether it is truth or not. Investigate it. But once you have investigated, are you allowing it to happen in your life? So,
That's the important part right there.
yeah,
What is your allowance of it? What is your allowance of it? Yeah, they wrote the book. Yeah, they said this. Yeah, you believe it to be true, but are you allowing it to become a part of who you are to make you better?
yeah.
You
Here is
know,
the
because I told you once we fully integrate with ourselves,
yeah,
physical body, not just the mental body, the psychological. I'm talking about all parts of you, your
yeah,
social side, everything needs to be in balance.
yeah.
And when we're out of balance, we have problems and we have issues that we have to figure out and all that kind of stuff. But because we haven't become fully integrated within ourselves.
You know, Lois, that is the remarkable thing with the ancients. They found the balance first. All their effort initially was to find the balance inside, and then go and find, do the, again, they don't want to conquer the world or anything, but they want to serve the world, as though it is a reflection of the God, so you are serving the God. I have a saying that I follow every day. It is called Siva Gnana Jiva Seva. What does it mean is, everybody reflects this consciousness, this self, big self I was talking about, that everybody has that spark of divinity or spark of light, whatever we call it, and that is there in everybody. Look at that and then serve. Shiva Gnana means, that is the Shiva means that consciousness. Gnana means knowledge. The knowledge of that consciousness is there, and Jiva Seva, all Jiva, all beings, all living beings have that, and then do the service of the living beings. It not necessarily only human beings, but also plants and animals. So I have that etched in my thing, Seva Gnana Jiva Seva. Whatever I do, it should be service, but in the seeing the divinity and then serving the divinity in everybody.
Yes, and that's that namaste.
Yeah, that's the namaste.
And I totally 100% believe that because no matter what I see, yeah, I can see the God in everything. When I see the clouds, I see God. Yeah. Well, if people don't like the name God, I see the pure love light energy. When I see the ball, when I see the ground, when I see this bookshelf, it is pure energy, yeah, that's vibrating at a different rate than me. So it looks solid. Yeah. I still see the energy of it.
Yeah, it is dormant in it. It is there. Yeah, it is there.
It's easier.
Yeah, it is dormant in it. It is not awakened, but it is there. No. But the energy is there in the table also. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yesterday.
I haven't seen you in a long time. Hey, Lois, how are you?
Yeah. Sana is a regular in my room. She comes all the time.
Yeah. There you go. No, I'm trying not to do too much of the social media thing anymore, but just the ones I need, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that one.
They were talking about this social media, Sanya. Last night I was listening to the interview by some Henton or somebody who has really worked on this chat GPT and brought it out. He's the inventor, I believe. He left Google and he come on the TV, and then he was talking about much more harm that can be coming with this automated neural connections that they have. So he's compared it like we have 5 thoughts, for example, and they have 100 million thoughts, and that is where it is going to dominate with a lot of things. And they were initially, Google listened to him and they were careful, I believe. But then Microsoft brought this chat GPT out, and then they were sharing all the market thing. Now Google also is going that way, and that's why he left the Google, I believe. What do you think about that?
Well, I know that the whole thing with the chat GPT, I don't have any fear of chat GPT or anything like that, because the computer is going to learn so much, it's going to take over, because we are the original authentic intelligence. Okay? And we were the one who made it. Now, it may be able to learn because they programmed it to learn, but it will never have a ego. It's not going to have a self because it's not a body. But the thing is, I look at it, all of these things that they've developed with technology have taken us away from the self. However, we live in a polarized universe.
Yeah.
where everything happens on a pole, the law of polarity. So where it can destroy, it can also help.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I've chosen to opt for to lean and on the bar graph to keep to try to stay neutral in that 0 point.
Mm.
But and if I do decide to use it, I use it to enhance rather than to detract.
Yeah.
I don't use it to as creative my creative source,
Yeah.
but I do use it when I have something I need to create to help me create it even better.
I look at this way, Lois. It is a enhancer of our cognition, but cognition also for me is a tool. What I am, the real self, is using the cognition. So that way, Chat GPT, I embraced it. I kind of employed a lot of AI tools to get my lot of things out in my service of people to be done. But then I have so much more time to spend with my inner self and exploring, meditating, and being in the silence and being doing some service and all that. So it has really improved my life that way. I don't have to waste a lot of time on these external things. I'm getting it done faster, but I never lost the focus of turning inward and being with the self, being in the silence and enjoying that. That's how I view this. So all technology is like that for me anyway. So this has really saved a lot of time for me. That much I can say. Yeah. But I also follow the philosophical, sociological, what is happening with this new technology. It could be robotics, it could be meta, it could be virtual world that I create. See, that is one thing I'm really looking at with amusement, because as it is, people are lost about themselves. But what we're talking about here, and then they create another virtual from the ego to another virtual ego. So I think people are going to be very confused about what they are, and they will lose themselves very quickly, probably. So,
That is a possibility.
yeah.
That's a strong possibility. However, if they're grounded in who they are and they
Yeah.
need to use it, they'll see it as a tool,
Yeah.
just simply a tool. It's just a tool, and that we can put in our repertoire to improve our life, like you said, to free up your time.
Yeah.
That's what I've used it for in this past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I've used it to free up my time so much. I was like, oh my God, how come I didn't know about this before?
Yeah. I was very hesitant to create videos before because they took a lot of time of me. I didn't have that. But now I can create videos within a couple of hours. Very good videos, very nice. I don't have to speak on them. I just put the text and the voiceover will speak it for me, and then people can understand better because they don't have my accent. I don't want to erase my accent at this age, but then I want people to understand me better. So the voiceover is doing a very good job. I kind of like one voice. Gwyneth Paltrow is there on one of them. Another one is Eva. Eva, that I don't know who it is, but she sounds very calm and quiet and nice. If you listen to the voice, you feel like, oh yeah, this is good voice. Those kind of positive factors are there. We can enhance ourselves. Essentially, what it is, we want to share something, and that is becoming easier for me. See, with the chat GPT and all that.
Yeah, that makes sense because, like I said, this week it made it. Sharente was helping me with some stuff that I was doing,
Yeah.
and it was like, "Mom, you here use ChatGPT?" And I'm like, "I don't even know how to use that thing. I don't know what you're talking about." And then I would ask questions. I tried to use it on my own, didn't work for me. And then she showed me that, Mom, it's not what it does. It's the question that you ask. You got to
Yeah.
ask your question in a way in which you get the answer that you want.
Yeah.
And so then I started just asking general questions. I started asking questions like I'm the therapist in the room.
Yeah.
And then I asked something, and then I would get the answer a better explanation of what I was looking for, because I already have the basic information, because it's my creativity and my imagination coming up with stuff. But sometimes I just need some supporting documents.
Exactly. You can. It all depends on how you query, what you do, and then it will give you the very deep answers. Mainly, it is reviewing vast 100 trillion now, I think, bits of information that it reviews and gives you very coherent, very convenient way they put it. English is better, and I think that's a positive if you use it that way, you know. But there is a potential for some people may misuse it. That's the problem people are worried about, you know. I'm following that wing also, Lois. It's not just what we can do with it, but also what would be the effect of this technology on our brain, human brain, and also the interacting with the social forces, you know, and how it is going to help, for example, a planet health, or how it can deteriorate it, or how it can help democracy or not. Those kind of things I'm really studying, and then listening to subject matter experts about who are creators and all that. Lots of people, though, they don't have a foggiest idea about this consciousness, but some of them do. You know, uh, who is that? Samuel, uh, some man. You know, he is the one who has Chat GPT, and he's joined Microsoft, and he's delivering all the OpenAI and all that. He was really quoting that universal energy we're talking about. He was quoting about that, you know, and they're very clear about how this is information agent, but not conscious sentient being. So when you
Right.
when you ask the Chat GPT, you should say, "I'm only information peddler, but I'm not like somebody who is going to feel about it, experience about it." You know, that kind of thing. She will always say.
Okay. All right. Okay. I gotta go now, Doctor Rao, because my daughter is on
Sure,
her way
Lice.
here, and I need to go. But I
Yeah,
love you, Doctor Rao. You
yeah.
know that I love you too, Sonia. And thank you, Joyce and Carmen, for listening. But I
Thanks.
gotta go. But I love you, and keep on talking.
Yeah, I will. I will. I will
All
talk
right.
even if I'm alone. Then people come and join.
All right. I'll talk to
Thanks.
you later. Bye.
Thanks for coming, Eyes. Enjoying it. Yeah, Loisa is always, I kind of rhyme with her, and she understands the real self, and she's experiential. That's why she kind of comes through that authentically, and then with all her, kind of aggressive sometimes, but then very nicely aggressive. So I enjoy her. Yeah. So what's happening with you, Sanya?
Yeah, of course, now that AI is taking away some of that,
Yeah,
a lot of the time now, it's like giving me a little more of the reflection on, in terms of right
yeah,
now, how do I want this life to be? You
yeah,
can actually like, allocate like that time, like what you said, right? You have some time on your own
yeah.
and time to enjoy all of those things.
You know
All
what?
the time,
My
I wish.
perspective, it will be like this, Sanya. Maybe it will be weird for you, but what I'm doing with my spiritual practice, that was the main thing. Everything else is like an interruption for me, and I go back to what I do basically. That was my thing before too. But then I was never pressed or anything like that, because work is worship for me, right? And work is like a service for me. So that's why I don't feel like I'm working, I'm giving something away. So I bring this along with me to that, not to impress anybody, just I'm telling you how that flows into that. So it's not like a compartmentalization. When they work life balance, I say balance first and then work. Then work life balance will be automatic, right? So that's what I focus on. Think about this. First, let me have the balance, and then take up on anything. Then you will know what you is meaningful for you, what is that you are doing has some all those things, and then when you go to the real existential issues, the more fog out of it coming out, and the more clarity dawns on you, and the more you're happier, and also the more you are doing stuff that are meaningful for you, so it's the kind of very indiscipline is not going to help with that. But then discipline in your intentions, in your real focus on what you want to live and all that, you know. So as you become more and more silent in the mind that way, it becomes very nurturing. A lot of energy, you know. I think a lot of people, they get driven by different forms of thoughts that come at them because of the life has so many projections from so many people. But if you don't know what you are, where you are going, what you are trying to do, I think you will be influenced by every system, every thoughts, everything. That's essentially the yoga. I say if you don't find yourself, then you will be driven by whatever the thought goes, you know. And then the thought itself is temporary, transient, but your real inner truths that you discover, they are permanent. Once you hold on to not this the fundamental beliefs and telling everybody this is the way you have to do it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about really investigated, felt universal truths. Then once you are there, for that you need a lot of clarity and energy. Unless you have that, you will not be able to stay with that. But the more you are there, the more energy comes out, you know. And then that's why there is no work. And suppose I'm doing this talk here, I enjoy it. I come and share it, you know, like friends like you come and share it, you know. I enjoy it, you know. So it's not like a there is an intention there that you should get something out of it. So I don't care whether somebody coming or not. I just talk because the people who were telling me, like today morning, I have a friend, her name is Sherry, and she was telling me, I can't make the time sometimes, like Raw, because I'm occupied with the work, but I make sure I go and see, listen to your replay. That's those are the things that I get messages. That's why I know people may listen to it, but the main thing is when people come and share, I really enjoy that too.
Yeah, I. It's really like for me, it's just about just slowing down everything
Yeah,
in a sense. Now you can do a little more focused work, and I am increasing the body part, right? Because in terms of like not just exercise, but the intensity of it, right?
yeah,
And so that way, it also, not only
yeah. For
bring
me,
about in
what I
terms of
want
work.
to propose for everybody is uh, try to be moving while you are working to as much as possible. That way, you can discover opportunities to be physical at the same time. Okay, what is important is, are we settling down? Are we encouraging that lazy energy, which I call tamas in Sanskrit? Or are you doing too much of rajasic? That means you are running, your mind is running. Both have to come down to what's called the in between energy, which is the sattvic. In the sattvic energy, what happens is you have a calm mind, but you are scintillating with the awareness. And then whatever you do is not consumed by random thoughts or vikshepa, that means scattered thought going on. That is encouraged by the modern multiple stimuli and all. That's why you have to be protective of that. So if you go in the hospital, we use a lot of data, a lot of talks, a lot of discussions and all that, right? But there is a way to not to allow that to all stay in there. Only the insights, only the important thing. And rest of them, you have to learn how to sweep it off. You know, that if you do, then you don't have this brain fog. Make sense?
Yeah, I thought about the gym, but I am not the gym person, so I decided to do martial arts.
Yeah.
And so I took up karate again. When I was in college,
Mm.
I used to do more of sports and stuff, so I um, took to doing that because I like participation, and I like in terms of interactions with people, right? And even though like sparring, friendly sparring and stuff like that, it's just the not only the discipline and the practice, right?
Yeah.
Those kind of thing that I look forward to, and of course, if you do it as a group, it also helps in terms of just
Yeah.
like when I joined you, right?
Mhm.
So it's the kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's a martial arts are great, because that's why I like Bruce Lee. He's a philosopher also, but also you look at his practice and how he has allowed himself to go deeper within and understood energy in a it's not just he wants to be excel only on the physical stuff, but also understand the mind, how to really allow it to function the way it should, but not like a out of whack. That's where he was influenced by J. Krishnamurti, and he had that back injury. He was lying down for 6 months, I think he was in the bed, and he was already a philosopher scholar, right? He was, I think his college, his major was philosophy. So he already read all the philosophers of the West and the East. But then he took up on J. Krishnamurti mainly because Krishnamurti doesn't want you to rely anything outward. So he wants us to explore it by yourself. That he liked, and that's why he kind of went in. All the barriers of the mind he overcame with that. And so he was liberated from his own mind, Bruce Lee. And then his recovery was very fast. And after that, he said, no system. I don't want to practice any system, but I want to be combining a system where there is no system. Jeet Kune Do, something he called it. What does it mean is the Chinese, they used to say, this is my philosophy. We don't want to teach any whites and all that. That's why they were angry with Bruce Lee. He was teaching everybody equally, right? And that means he has overcome the barriers within his mind, Bruce Lee did, whereas other people are holding on to that, right? So even ancient Hindus also, even now, they feel like that's something. It's not like that. The yoga and all those things are universal. The martial arts are universal. So it's kind of understanding that, and then really um, go there and then find it yourself. He did that as a he was alone. He was at home. He was not able to work. His wife was working, and then he explored all the books and went into that. There was a documentary made, Sonia. If you are interested, look up that on Bruce Lee. There was a documentary, and in the documentary, they mentioned all this. I think Leon. I know Leon. I think. Let's see where she wants to come and talk with us.
Okay.
Hi, Leon.
Hi, you're right. I've just joined, so I don't know what you're talking about yet. But thanks for bringing me up.
Yeah, we were talking about several things, but right now we were mentioning about how good martial arts are. That's a very good. It's like any exercise is like a kneading the body, not getting in our comfort zones and then getting aged and all that. But at any time you can start exercising slowly and then get into that, and then not only moving the body or kneading the body or really intense or light exercise, whatever you want to do, and keep the mind calm. That's the main health principle. And in the um, Bruce Lee says about just don't be angry, you know emotional content. That means intensity of the awareness of what you are doing. That's why he was so powerful with his punches and everything, because he is not angry. He doesn't waste his energy on that, but he kind of gets into that emotional content which is intense, and that's why he gets so much power. So we're just talking about human capacities and all that, but then the room was about inner self, your bigger self, not your egoic smaller self. That's why we went into chat GPT and all those things too. My friend Lois was here, and she was also experiential always. So she was talking about her experience. So Sanya is here, and she was telling me about her martial arts. That's why we began to talk about, Bruce Lee.
All right. I haven't done martial arts. I wish I was fit enough. I would be. I've got so many medical conditions. I'm getting better though. I'm
Yeah.
working with Dr. Tan, and another amazing doctor. So all my organs in my body were damaged in some way, but they are getting better. So eventually, I might be able to get into martial arts.
Yeah.
But Dr. Tad did teach me some qigong. I actually found that really beneficial.
Yeah, very much so. Qigong. I did the Qigong myself too. It's a very energy boosting phenomenon. Same thing, you see, all the Eastern things are based on consciousness. That means human beings are not just mere bodies and mind, but the animating spark of life, that is the consciousness that is there. Once you end up in that, you can use the body and mind as wonderful tools, and keep them healthy too. And part of that is this energy that is there. How do you manipulate it? Because with our not knowing ways, or ignorant ways, we kind of spoil that energy. That's why we kind of age quickly, and then we kind of allow the body organs to go down. I told this before. So the yoga is like a inner organs are massaged, but then body and mind are kept separate, like a objective objects to your real subjective self. That is what we are talking about here. Once you are there, then you won't identify with the body or the mind, but you will use them properly. And then you can be in that silent self. That's very invigorating. you know. I think there are so many people on the wisdom, but I don't know whether anyone wants to come up. You can always come up and talk to me if you wish. Otherwise, I have friends here. They are talking too. Joyce is here. If she wants, she can come up. Kanan is also there, and Violet is there. So, Sanya, any questions? Any other questions? Another 10 minutes we can be here. I was doing my, first thing I did, the rooms I did were more like uh, therapeutic lifestyle changes, TLC. I did a series of rooms with uh, Cindy Duke. She is the physician, she is an obstetrician and also fertility doctor, virologist too, very unique. So I was with her in that club, and then I did under their club because they asked me for it. Um, yeah, basically examining the pillars of wellness of food, exercise, sleep, and calming the mind. And I'm exploring all of them, made a separate book like for each pillar. And then I'm going to make videos on that, and then distribute them after that. So
That's awesome. I mean, anything that helps people, I think.
yeah, I kind of went into depth of the food because there are micronutrients, and also way of eating and being kind to the uh, planet. So many things are there, right? I put it all there. We'll see how that comes out. Yeah, this chat GPT helps you to your ideas can be expanded and all that. But I don't copy them just like that. I have to read all of that and edit them. So sometimes it can be a little bit different. Something like a another who don't have any idea about consciousness. You will obviously talk about mechanical things, right? Then it is very evident to me, then I will correct that. So it is taking that time, correcting and reading and making sure at least it is expressing my viewpoint, my understanding, and all that. But if there are new things that I have to learn, I will learn. But it rarely makes any mistakes, really. It is a very wonderful tool for me. So,
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I'm also doing some voluntary work,
yeah.
So it's kind of nice to be able to do that, and yeah, this has been like an not only like in terms of connecting to your community, but it's also really rewarding and getting to know everyone. And
Yeah. But I'm in several communities. I go to different rooms. So I don't consider anybody separate community. We're all one. So
Yeah.
I wherever I go, that is my community. So I have no
Yeah. I
separation.
mean, in terms of,
Yeah. That's why I
in
feel
terms of,
inside, you know.
oh,
So
sorry.
yeah,
I think in terms of needs and stuff like that, I
yeah,
used to do a lot more when I was younger, right? In
yeah,
terms of volunteering with the missions and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I find now that I can kind of tune in and also just explore, in
yeah.
terms of,
Isn't that
um,
nice when you volunteer, Sanya? When you give voluntarily, that's very nice, right?
yeah, I think it's like also a balancing thing. Like we've been working on balance, right,
Yeah,
Dr. Rao?
yeah, yeah,
And I feel like, the things we talked about, the things that we've done, and now is the time to also be, it's not also good for the community, but it's also good for me,
yeah.
and
Remember what I said? Balance inside first, and then everything else falls into balance.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel really like very grateful for everything that happened.
Yeah,
Not only during the time I, of course, um, work with you,
mm.
and also, everything that comes into my life now is just like it's so interesting. When I needed something, it just comes, and it's just like for me, I'm so grateful beyond
I'll put it
anything,
this
right,
way.
Doctor?
I'll put it this way. It is already there. Only thing is, you are able to look at it now. Not that it's coming somewhere out there, but it's already there.
Awesome.
Universe
All
is
right,
like that.
no, you said that.
Yeah, universe is there, and also, and then, but we just don't get in because we separate
Yeah,
with our separative thought. But once you see, like Bruce Lee, I was telling about, he kind of removed all the barriers from his own heart so that he was able to embrace every culture, everybody, and then that's why he performed and he taught people and all that, right? And then he wrote that book Jean Condor, and then it's distributed. So now I remember why. Not because of his martial skills and killing and all, not that, but his intensity of himself, how he self-actualized himself, and how he really opened up his heart to. And then because of that, millions of people, kids and youth, they learned martial arts and they became very healthy. So that's what I like. That's like a replenishing life in a major sense. you know so first of all, you got to be free and you got to be um, really uniquely unionizing everything, but at the same time you are contributing to the life to replenish it. You know, that's the important
yeah.
thing, I think.
It's kind of interesting you mentioned barriers. This is what,
Yeah,
I'm slowly lifting, right? Because we deal with the anger one now, that any thoughts that touches me,
yeah.
like, in many ways, and you question the source pretty much in terms
See,
of where it comes from, right? And so
Sanya,
when you,
this morning I was talking to my sister, and she has this thought persistently coming in, good things, bad things. She's 80-year old, right? But still active, still, but then her mind goes into old memories and come and do that. So I told her, just like you watch the traffic that is coming and going, don't identify, don't describe, don't say anything, just watch the thoughts as the traffic and ask the question, where are they coming from? And as long as you are asking that question continuously, you will end up in the awareness. And that is when you really discover probably a lot of treasures within. That has to be experiential. It cannot be described, it cannot be given to anybody. They have to take a journey within. That's personal, that's important for them. That's
yeah,
it.
I think I really appreciate that part where, how we separate thoughts and
Yeah,
the mind and the body thing. I so like now I can, in terms of like what you just said, right? you see it, but you don't like allow it to interfere. So when the emotions and all of these things comes in, I can now reflect back. It's not as significant, right?
Yeah, it has
But
got to do the energy. It has got to do with your what was going on, silence and all that. So once you end up in that silent awareness, which is what you are really, then the vagaries of thought subside, and then that becomes so sharp that is called buddhi, the intellect, and you can use that to do a lot of good stuff. But don't identify it. Be aware of it. That's the trick.
okay, thank you.
Mm. Yeah. All right. It's almost 7 o'clock. Then, if anybody has any questions, Nazli is here. Nazli usually has a question. Nazli, you can come and ask us a question if you want to. Uh, we're about to close anyway. So, yeah, I think Nazli wants to come up. Let's see. I invited her. Hopefully, it's working for her. Oh, there she is. Hi, Nazli. I think she is not. Ah, yeah, there she is.
Hello, Dr. Ram. I will not lose my chance to asking question. uh, my question is when I ask the voice who is asking the question,
Yeah, yeah.
there comes a silence. It is the owner of the question disappears.
Yes, exactly, exactly. That's why you always say, where does this thought come from? And then as you're asking that, then you will see there is a self-luminous silence behind. That is the diamond I'm always talking about. So you are exactly on the right question with that, Nazli. Yeah.
And then I become the observer, but then
Yeah,
there is no question and no answer.
yeah. You be the observer. And in any question, you don't want to seek right away answer because you have to let the question stay there. Be with the question for a while. Then your intelligence really shows you the answer, or really the question itself reveals the answer. So a lot of sages used to say, don't ask the question, but be with the silence. But then doubt can be okay, but it has to be tethered like a dog. It has to be on a chain. It has to be restricted. But without doubt, then you become a slave of somebody else's thing, and then you will be. So you have to question it, but then stay with the question. Don't seek answer right away because Chat GPT can give you from the information, but Chat GPT cannot tell you what is wise in life. You got to have an insight in that information. Anything is like that. See, the problem of modern society is we get caught in the information and we think everything is that in the book or in the information. But if you can separate yourself from the information and also deduce insight of the information, then that becomes wisdom. See, they are talking about mentoring on the Wisdom app, for example. Yeah, external things definitely. Suppose Sanya wants to teach somebody personal finance, which is her thing. That's fine. She has to use her thought, her knowledge, and everything. As a doctor, I can use a lot of things that we already know that work, right? But then, if you really want to have wisdom, it's not the information but the what you have an insight into that and how that has penetrated your deep psyche, then you can so what you are saying is once you are in that observer, then you will realize what you are observing with the observer is the same. According to your observer, how you trained it, it will see the answer. But once you realize both are the same, there is no question. There is only what is.
My worry is that I end up observing with my limbic system and I lose my
Yeah.
frontal lobe intelligence.
Yeah, beyond frontal lobe you have to go. That's true. Limbic is more like an animalistic, instinctive. Limbic system is instinctive, animal, reptile brain, right? Whereas intellectual is frontal lobe. But intellect is also below the intelligence, awareness we're talking about. That is above. So, who is that is worrying? Again, the frontal lobe thing.
Is frontal lobe worrying or is the limbic system?
No, no, limbic system instinctual. It doesn't continue like that. It will have the reaction right away. But then if you are worrying, that means you are in the field of realm of thought. You are thinking about the same thing, and that means you have not gone beyond your mind. This
I
is
habitually, for maybe 20 years, I ask myself, how am I feeling? And I navigated through life by this question.
yeah,
But it's not necessarily the good question, so I'm dropping it.
yeah. Drop it because your sense of I explore that. Is that related to your past knowledge or future projection? Basically, your intellect is projecting it, or your own intuitive self that you naturally as a child, as a young woman, and now she's the same that she feels. Maybe the body changed, maybe the thoughts change, but her sense of I-ness, that's what you need to feel it with intuition, not really making a analysis or projection of thought, but just to feel that feeling realization. Remember Eckhart Tolle I was quoting the other day, regaining the memory of being and embodying that feeling realization of that being. That is enlightenment. So enlightenment means that's already there and you are realizing it that is there. But that the impediment is this thought going that way, this way, and making questions. So there is a I that is ego, that is smaller self. There is a awareness self, which is the bigger self we are talking about here. That is common to everybody. That is a spark. That's the light. That is the consciousness that gives us this life in this body and mind. And without that, these are both are inert. So it is very difficult for people to accept. Thought is also object for our inner core.
What
Anyway,
is your comment? What is your comment on navigating through our days with these two questions? What do I love to do right here, right now?
yeah,
And the second question is that what is the highest priority task to do?
yeah.
What is your comment on these questions?
Establish yourself in the real self. Otherwise, everything else is thought going all over. Here and now, you don't have thought. You have only what is. If you give some, uh, description or something that you already know or you are projecting, then you are in thought. You are not in awareness. But awareness is everybody in that awareness. So, like for example, we are aware of our body, right? We are aware of our thoughts. That means that awareness is separate from your body and the mind. So if you get caught in the thought all the time, then you will be going around and around. The peace is, the bliss is when that has really knows its place and subsides. And you can use it as a tool, but don't be identified with that. Then here and now, being present means that you are in a real self, not built by your intellect or thought or books or anything like that. That's why intuitively you feel your real self, and then it comes through because it is kind of a self luminous thing. Anyway, is
So
a
between two different tasks, you don't ask yourself any question. You just
yeah,
go through. You don't
yeah, exactly.
habitually ask yourself questions.
Yeah. Just ask only one thing: where are these thoughts coming from? That thought that is coming is your silent self. Once you are there, you can have a very powerful intellect, but then that intellect will not take you wherever it wants to because you know who you are, what is the purpose, and all that. This is where the ancients are really explored simple life, but inner life is very deep and rich, and they were able to touch existential issues much better that way. That's why they were not separating our plants and animals as separate from us, but they were had a much bigger sense of responsibility to that. Actually, they thought this part of them, so they were replenishing that. So all you do is be
Thank you so
quiet.
much. I move myself to audience and listen.
Yeah, be quiet, be quiet, and then know your God. That's what they said, right? That God is this inner being, not out there, you know. So the ancient system also said that you are the conscious being, you are not this scattered thought. That's called vikshepa. That means like a donkey mind is dull and doesn't receive anything. A butterfly mind, it can stay on one flower some time, and then it reflexively goes to something else, you know. But a monkey mind goes all over, right? But ekagra, that means you are staying with one thought, you know. And then niruddha, all thoughts are stalled, unnecessarily will not go anywhere. So all you do is question the thought that is coming, and then you find that awareness, and then you stay in that, then use the thought and body. That's what I do. So it's not that we are against the thought, but the limitation of thought you want to understand. All right, I think that's a good question. I know Leslie will always ask good questions. That's why I called her. Thanks, Leslie. Thanks for that question. And I will see you again tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. Okay. Bye, Sanya, Leanne. Thanks for coming up. Okay.